On your dime, there's outcry over unfunded education mandates. The state requires school districts to hire certain vendors or implement certain programs
without providing money to pay for them, as NBC 10 I-Team reporter Tamara Sacharczyk tells us.
These unfunded education mandates can cost municipalities millions. Some claim it has driven budget deficits in their districts. House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale is now fighting to end them.
This is going to be the next financial crisis that hits the state.
Unfunded education mandates fueling a fight in Rhode Island as several districts grapple with budget deficits.
It needs to be corrected immediately, or else, there's going to be dire consequences for municipalities.
Johnston Mayor Joe Paulsina Jr. points to the Pathways program. It allows students to take advantage of career and technical programs out of district, but funding follows the student along with the cost of transportation.
If we didn't have to deal with that, then our school department would have zero financial problems.
Johnston Public Schools has a $1.4 million cumulative deficit. The district spent $8.5 million on out-of-district tuition and transportation in 2024, an 8% increase from the previous year. Warwick schools are working to trim a $9 million deficit. Out-of-district tuition costs them $13.84 million. Warwick City Council President Anthony Sinapi. Should the cost fall on the state instead of the city?
If you're going to require school districts to spend money on things, then you should provide the funds.
Transportation funds also fall on districts. They're given a list of state-approved vendors, even if they don't necessarily meet their needs.
A full-size school bus is used to send just a handful of kids when they could use a far smaller vehicle, but they're not allowed.
When looking at finances overall, is that a problem that you need to use a whole school bus to just bus a few students?
Yeah, it's pretty much the definition of waste.
The cost of statewide transportation, a whopping $3.9 million for Warwick and $1.1 million for Johnston. Those numbers getting the attention of House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale.
Overregulation has created this dynamic where we're forcing districts to go with a contract that may not be in their best financial interest.
Chippendale is filing legislation to end certain unfunded education mandates. It would essentially allow districts to opt out of certain mandates if they can prove a financial burden.
But all we've done is transfer that burden of paying for it from state taxes down to the local level, where it's often the hardest for them to make ends meet.
You want the state to stop treating it as a one-size-fits-all?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's unfortunately, we do that too often, and we have 39 very unique cities and towns with very unique challenges.
Mayor Paulsina wants to take it one step further. He's calling for an end to the Pathways program.
How do you think the public would feel about that?
I think if people saw the numbers and saw the financial crisis that was coming to all these municipalities, I think they would change their tune. So people are essentially saying, I want to pay the low tax rate, but I don't want to put my child in that public education system, so I'll use a pathway to go to a quote-unquote better school system. It's like totally unfair.
I asked the Department of Education how it feels about Chippendale's legislation. An agency spokesperson said while RIDE implements policies according to laws, some of the unfunded mandates are critical for education and legally required. To see how much unfunded mandates are costing Johnston, Warwick, and Lincoln, you can head over to our homepage. For the NBC 10 I-Team, I'm Tamara Sacharczyk.